Tangi here, leadership and mindset specialist for real estate leaders and property professionals that want to grow themselves, their people, and their business in the least amount of time. A guy that really doesn't need much introduction, but I'll do it anyway. He is an international peak performance coach, specialist, and trainer, and has dedicated decades of his life to helping people fulfill their potential, both personally and professionally, in real estate, and as I said, in life, particularly with family and relationships, which we'll get to. He's also a best-selling author of a great book called The Power of Connection, which is also available on audiobook, and is also now recording a podcast called Voices of Value with his friend and colleague, Peter Kakos. Rik Rushton, drum roll please, welcome to this 5-minute chat.
You know what? I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to take you with me around the world to introduce me every single time. I love our connection. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
My pleasure. So this is a real rapid fire 5-minute video, and the whole intention is to say, first of all, thank you. You are one of our key leaders of influence for our upcoming 2-day Empowered Leadership Summit in Melbourne as part of our 3-city series. It's called Inspiring Greatness, and it just feels really fitting, Rik, to begin by just actually acknowledging all the service you have provided to this industry over the decades that you have, both nationally and internationally. So you are one of our key leaders of influence. You will be speaking at the Melbourne event on November 20th and 21st. Your segment is on Wednesday the 21st as part of Engage, which is part of our 6 empowered leadership practices. You're going to be talking about the power of connection and how to engage great teams.
Well, if you've got the right people, you've got the right coach, and you've got the right environment for people to grow and get better, it's very important now to really make sure we take that up another notch, because the market has come back across Australasia. It's changed right the way through, from whether you're West Coast, where you've been last week and I was the week before, or whether you're East Coast. So those key components are vital going forward to really upskill them in a modern real estate practice.
And these are things that leaders can control, Rik. So whilst market conditions are changing, lending of banks is tightening, consumer confidence is constricting to a degree, your people, your leadership and your culture is something that is in the leadership's, hands and heart. And I know something that is very near and dear to your heart. So at Inspiring Greatness, you're going to be talking about the power of connection and how to get the right people and how do we treat them, and what does a leader need to do to build great cultures and then serve their clients and grow their business and grow market share. In these challenging and changing times, Rik, what 3 tips or 3 insights from your international experience over decades would you give right now in this brief chat to leaders that are listening?
Well, process precedes results. So our processes have to go up dramatically now. And what we're saying to our producers are, speak more with your clients, whether that be in property management, whether that be in sales. My message to leaders is speak more to your team. Ultimately, you need to over communicate going forward. Now, in the absence of communication in a changing market, Tanja, none of your team are thinking positively. They're thinking negatively. I haven't heard from Rik this week, so something must be wrong. I haven't heard from Rik today, something must be wrong. Not, I haven't heard from Rik today. He's trusting me to know my role, do my role, and play my role. So my message will be over communicate now as we're instructing our teams to do with their clients. I'm suggesting we need to do that with our teams. That's the first thing. So process precedes results. Number 2, and I think this is really critical, is that talented people don't join companies in 2018, 2019. They join great brands and or cultures. And I think the brand is one part, the culture is the most important part. And as we all know, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if we can get that going, that's critically important there as well. So, I think that's the second part. And the third message would be that success is not a solo performance. We need other people to help us get along the way to where we need to get to. And that's easy for me and you to do because we connect so simplistically. But how do you connect with someone who's unlike you and less likely to be someone at your dinner table in the coming Saturday night, but someone who's going to help your business grow and get to the next level? So I'll be sharing that engagement strategy in a short, sharp 15, 20-minute TED-style talk at Inspiring Greatness.
Yeah, awesome. And you were actually at our first one, which was, it was so great. It was a sold out event. We got some incredible feedback. We had amazing lineup of key leaders of influence, including yourself. Why do you think real estate leaders need to be there in these
Oh, that's,
changing
yeah,
times. What is your, and I, you know, I know we were talking off air before we started this recording,
yeah.
but like, what is the reason Rik Rushton would say, hey leaders, look, come to this event because there's so many to choose from, and I would say go to as many as you can. You know, why this one? Why this
Well,
one?
I think it's, as you know, it's chatting off air, I talked about the fact that I didn't just stay for my session and speak. I actually stayed as a student, took lots of notes in an amazing workbook. So I think these sorts of 2-day events give you great inspiration as a leader, but that's fleeting by the time you get back to your office and you start putting out the first oil fire, which leads into another week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks
Yeah.
post the event. And then you look back and go, oh, I still haven't implemented anything. What I loved about your program, and I said this to you off air and I'll say it publicly as well, in nearly 3 decades of going to learning environments and learning events from Australia across the globe, really, your workbook with the detail that was in there for implementation, it made implementation almost, you're going to implement despite you as a leader, because we're all incredibly time poor, but the template for taking the idea, getting inspired and then bringing it into play was the thing I took away from it. And I think there's a photo somewhere, which I must post somewhere, but it was of me taking notes sitting up at the back of the room, which I think you sneakily got done. But it compelled me to implement that idea. And so why would leaders go there? Well, it's a no-brainer. It's 2 days. It's 2 days of elite leadership information. But more importantly, you've got a strategy and a technique and a template to make sure the idea comes forward into implementation, which is where the real power is.
Yeah, and that was a real intention of ours, because as you and I were talking about before, most of us go to trainings, our motivational pilot light gets lit, we have a work full of actions and great intentions, and then the conference finishes, the phone rings, and what workshop? And we often never pick up that.
Yeah.
So for those that weren't there, you get a workbook to take notes from all the speakers. Over the 2 days, you complete a personal empowerment leadership assessment across the 6 leadership practices. So you'll get a clear insight of what are you currently doing, what are you not doing, and what's a work in progress. And you also walk away with an A3 strategy with 6 simple actions that you can take over 90 days, stick it on your wall. And we've had some great feedback that, yeah, all training needs landing gear, and that was a great tool to land the plane in 90 days, smooth and not a parachute landing. So awesome, Rik. Well, so thanks for being part of the first one. Thanks again for coming back. You will have your book, The Power of Connection, available there for autographs and box purchases for your whole team. One of the intentions for Inspiring Greatness this year, or this month, sorry, in November, is to really elevate your team for 2019. And your book and resources, and also your recent podcast, Voices of Value with Peter Kakos, is a great weekly. It's weekly, is it, or bi-weekly, your Voices of Value?
It's actually weekly, little 20-minute bite-sized sort of ideas on every Wednesday morning it comes out.
And how do people get in touch with that before we wrap
Voices
up?
of Value. Yep. So it's just voicesofvaluepodcast.com. All one word, voicesofvaluepodcast.com. All episodes are there. The 5 that we've done thus far, the 6th one coming out this Wednesday, and then the 7th one is when we start interviewing some people. So you'll hear some amazing interviews from some absolute elite operators across many fields. So, but in terms of inspiring greatness, which is what we're all about today, clearly from my message to anybody listening here is don't just save that date, make it a date. It's a date that's going to have some real currency for you, your team moving forward, only if you want to grow your results in 2019, I would have thought.
Yeah, awesome, Rik. Thanks again. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful rest of the week, and we'll see you at Inspiring Greatness, the 2-day Empowered Leadership Summit in Melbourne on Tuesday the 20th and Wednesday the 21st. To find out more information or to book your early bird tickets, just head to all the W's, inspiringgreatness2018.com.au, or feel free to reach out to me through a comment, a DM on Facebook, on Insta, or on LinkedIn, where this will all be. Rik, much love. Here's to the pies 2019, and we'll speak soon.